everyone, welcome to Manchester MBA Voices. This is a podcast about people shaping the business world today and the journeys that led them to one of the most innovative cities in the world. I'm your host, Riya Malik, a full time MBA candidate at Alliance Manchester Business School. In our very first episode, I've had the pleasure of interviewing Gloria Cherono, who is also a full time MBA candidate at Alliance Manchester Business School. She is also a co founder of a sustainability venture called Envirofly. Because this is Women's History Month, we will also be talking about the challenges and joys of being a female entrepreneur. Now, let's dive right into the interview. Hello, Gloria.
Hi.
Could you please give us your brief intro and also one influence after joining AMBS that shaped how you lead?
Okay. So as you mentioned, my name is Gloria.
Yeah.
For the in the MBA, I am a Forté fellow and the Peter Folkman scholar. But before the MBA, I ran my own company. It's called Envirofly. It's a social enterprise in Kenya. We provide affordable, eco-friendly biofertilizer and insect protein to farmers and farmers associations. Envirofly was founded from a passion I have for climate and my community. I grew up in a farming community. And I think that's also shaped how I lead. So I think one thing that has redirected or reinforced my leadership here at the MBA is a focus on empathetic leadership. I built my company based on human-centered design, so trying to solve a real problem in my community. And through the MBA, it's reinforced a lot, even in our consultancy projects, understanding real customer problems, real client problems, making sure you're solving them. And the only way you can actually understand and solve a problem is if you put yourself in their shoes, try and live through it empathetically. And I think it also shapes how I interact with my teammates. So yes, empathy is a huge part of my leadership ethos.
That's so rightly said. I think in my opinion as well. So the first project, which was social impact project, life consultancy project, I think I haven't really done anything in this space before with a social impact organization. But I think after doing this project, the empathetic leadership is something that I've learned over time at AMBS. And it's been such a short period of time, but I've learned so much about this. So I completely agree with you on that. So I think to take this conversation forward, could you tell us where did you grow up and what roads led you to pursue this MBA?
I grew up in Kenya. I mentioned I grew up in a farming community, so I usually say if you drank tea today, there's a high chance it came from our home. So I grew up in the beautiful, luscious, green farming plantations of Kericho. It's a very cute and small town in Kenya, and farming was a huge part of our journey growing up. So when I was studying, I knew one day I'd eventually work in corporate, but my goal was to have a farm. Like if I retired, I'd retire in a farm. So when I was in university, I did a fellowship with the United Nations Academic Impact. It was one on social entrepreneurship. It was the first time I had ever had of social entrepreneurship, which was taking your love and care for whatever you were passionate about. For me, it was farming, it was climate, and turning it into a career. So I did the fellowship for 3 months and then moved on from it. Nothing came from it. Well, other than this passion that, I can translate the things I love and care about into a career. And then a few months later, the Health Prize came with a challenge for university students who wanted to build companies and startups. And then I raised my hand, I did that. I won in my university and I founded my company. So to bring it all back, I think now I've even forgotten the question. Could you remind me what we were talking about?
Yeah, so it was more about where did you grow up?
Yes.
And what roads led you to pursue an MBA?
Okay, then, yeah. So I founded my company then. So I had been running it for 5 years at this point. By the time I was thinking about doing my MBA, I founded it when I was 19. So I was very young. I had no experience on business. My degree is in economics and finance, which is, I know, business adjacent, but it's nothing like running a company. So I felt it was time for me to upskill. I had been running on my entrepreneurial instincts and a few trainings and incubator programs, but I wanted to immerse myself in a leadership and business program. So I started looking for a business school that aligned with my passions and my ethos. And the University of Manchester came very highly on that list. It's number one for sustainability in Europe. It's number two globally. So I was like, I definitely want to come here. And I applied, and thankfully I'm here.
Yeah, that's so good to know. And I think I completely agree with the fact that it's so high on sustainability. Plus, I think the business culture here, the entrepreneurship culture here is also so great. You feel so supported all the time, because I also have a venture of my own back in India. It's called Opop, which is a 0-calorie beverage brand. And back in India, I don't think like I had so much support. But I think when I came here, now that I'm thinking about entrepreneurship, I believe that there are so many avenues you can actually go into. There are accelerator programs, incubators that you can actually go for. So I think for me, it was also a very clear choice where the focus was so much on entrepreneurship, even the courses.
Yeah.
So
have you been part of any MEC activities as
I did take part once, and it was so eventful. I mean, I had so much fun understanding other people's ideas. There were so many ideas in the room, and while you're in such a room, you feel so inspired to do something yourself as well, right? So I think it was a really, really good experience.
Yeah. And for context, for anyone who is probably listening and doesn't know, MEC is so that's the other thing that drew me to Manchester. It has such as you've mentioned, a very strong entrepreneurship support ecosystem. So the MEC, the Masood Enterprise Center, and the ecosystem around it, there's so many innovation competitions. You'll learn how to pitch, you pitch for resources. So yeah, I agree with everything you've said. It's a really nice place to be an entrepreneur.
But now that we are actually talking about entrepreneurship, the businesses, can you tell us more about your venture Envirofly back in East Africa? What was the core problem, and how did you essentially solve it?
So, as I mentioned, when I started with the Health Prize and I was building my venture, human-centered design, I now was introduced to what human-centered design is, and it's one, building empathy as a skill. As I mentioned, empathy is a very huge part of my ethos as a leader. But how do you? It's very easy to say I'm an empathetic leader. So how do you actually do that in practice? So I remember before I even pitched my first idea, I had to do market research. So I remember it was during COVID and everything was closed down. So I was home. I was in Kericho, as I mentioned, a huge farming community. So I just started going around talking to farmers. My co-founders were also in their various parts of the country. So we were able to do wide-scale research with smallholder farmers, women, vendors, which surprisingly in East Africa, 80% of smallholder farmers are women, which I think was a very interesting thing.
That's so great.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing to find out. So, so I think I took all the learnings from it. And the biggest thing that came out was, at the time, especially because of COVID, the cost of farm inputs was insanely high. So again, we know supply chain disruptions in Africa and East Africa specifically. Most of the fertilizer was imported, so they no longer had access to it. So there was that problem. And there was a problem of waste. Half of everything they produced was wasted. So it's very expensive to produce. And when you actually produce it, it's lost in the supply chain. So that's the approach we took to solving the problem. And we used natural insect technology to manage waste so that it could come back and be reintroduced to the supply chain. And our process is eco-friendly, so it reduces emissions from the waste by 47 times. And we managed to, since the beginning of Envirofly till now, we managed over 100 tons of waste every year, generating 66 tons of carbon savings, 50 tons of side streams that now go back into to serve associations of over 200,000 farmers. So it's been an amazing journey, actually.
Wow. Yeah. The numbers are so impressive.
Yeah.
So I think talking ahead on this as well, on entrepreneurship, especially for women. So I believe that when I started my own venture, OPOP, there were so many barriers I faced as a woman. I faced that, whenever I went into vendor meetings, there was some disturbances here and there. People did not really take me that seriously because I'm a woman, right? So did you face any of those challenges? Did you face any of those barriers as a woman in entrepreneurship? And if you could tell us more about it.
Yeah, I think the biggest, and I know most people don't like it when entrepreneurs see this, but I think the biggest barrier was actually access to finance, especially in agriculture. So, and in that way, it's especially after learning that 80% of smallholder farmers are women. So the lack of access to finance in agriculture is also a lack of access to finance for many women. So I know they might not be they're not correlated causation, but they're definitely interrelated in one way or another. And I think one of the biggest things that was a support to me are the organizations that have walked with me through the journey, because the strength of your partnerships and the ecosystem around it is a big thing. Because I've learned in entrepreneurship, money isn't everything. So if you don't have the resources, you can at least have the community around it. And I'm glad I've had a community of support in my journey. I've received support from the World Food Program, the World Bank, MIT, and those organizations and the entrepreneurship ecosystem around them have been so fundamental. And slowly, there's now a few programs, like there's one just before I came to the MBA. I think there was a Tony Femelo one that was focused specifically on women in entrepreneurship. So I think, yeah, this other support that doesn't directly come from banking helps de-risk companies like mine, so you survive longer and eventually get to the place where you can be banked and you can raise money and yeah. So I think, yeah, for any entrepreneur struggling, especially as a female entrepreneur, if the money isn't coming, try and find the partners. The partners can help push you along.
Yeah. So while there are so many challenges as a woman, there are also some support, as you mentioned, for women.
Yes.
And that's so good. And I think it's so good that people have started realizing this. The organizations have realized this now. Earlier, it wasn't the case, right? So perfect. Thanks for this information.
Happy to share.
So now I think coming back to AMBS MBA,
Okay.
could you pick one AMBS moment where a class, maybe the life consultancy project that we did, or any mentor meeting that you had with your supervisors, it shifted your approach to your own leadership? What really changed and why?
Oh, that's a very deep question. I don't know. Could I pass it on to you for 1 second as I think about it?
Yeah, for me, the one moment that I can think of was one of the supervisor meetings that I had.
Yeah.
And in that meeting, because of course this was our first consultancy project that we had, so the team dynamics, I wouldn't say were very strong.
Okay.
And there were so many, because different perspectives, different nationalities, people coming from different functions. Some are from finance, some are from operations. People had so many different perspectives on things, and I came from consulting, so I had a completely different view of how I think about the things. So I had this supervisor meeting, and of course the supervisor could understand that there was some issues in between the group, and like people were not really aligned that well. And that was the moment the supervisor pointed this out and said that I think you all need to be aligned on one thing and think of the objective, the shared goal that you have for the client. And I think that's when I started to take on the coordinating role, where I started to ensure that every voice is heard and we're all coming together and deciding. So I think that was one of the moments where I became a project manager, I would say. And I could understand that, we all need to think together. Everybody has a different perspective, but it's important. Every perspective is so important. And I think that's what I learned. That was the moment that actually shaped my leadership. Initially, I had the thought that, I can whatever I was saying was correct.
Yeah.
And whatever I was thinking was is actually the right thing to go forward with. But I think that was the moment when I realized, okay, everyone's smart here.
Yeah.
And everyone has different perspectives, and I need to listen to all of these things. So I think that was my moment.
I think your reflection has actually helped me remember something. And it was from our SIP class, from Peter Buckley, our course director, and it was on radical candor. It was a 2x2 matrix, which we know the MBA loves. And in the matrix, it was caring personally, not caring personally, speaking directly, hiding. And in the matrix, it was if you care personally and you speak candidly, you get to this point of radical candor, as opposed to caring personally but hiding, which is manipulative insincerity, which it's definitely calls out any person who's empathetic but sees something going wrong and says nothing about it, that it just becomes manipulative insincerity. And then on the other side of it, it's if you don't care personally and you're hiding, it was another negative thing that you will see hopefully in a graph. Maybe you can put it up here. And the main point was to move us in our groups towards a point of radical candor. Because group work had its issues, it will definitely come with many issues down the line. But the biggest thing as a leader to learn is radical candor, being able to openly speak about any challenges you're experiencing, to call each other out in a way that benefits the group. And I think that's one of the biggest reflections I'll be taking forward. And yeah, thank you for helping me remember that.
That's actually great. I think I don't remember this lesson, because probably I wasn't in the class maybe at that time. But I think I'm really going to look this up.
Yeah, I think I have it in my notes. Oh, that's the other thing. If there's something about me, I will take notes. I have it in my notes.
Perfect. We'll add this on the screen for sure for people to also know about this. Perfect. So we both hold Forté Fellowship for Women in Business, and it's one of the most prestigious fellowships you can receive as a woman for MBA. And I believe that it has really opened some doors for me. And I would talk about this as well, but I would want to know from your side first that how has it really helped you, this fellowship that you received?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's one of the most prestigious fellowships. So for anyone who doesn't know what Forté is Forté Foundation supports women to get access to business school education. And when I applied to Manchester, I know financing an MBA, and for anyone who's watching and is a prospective MBA, it's the number one question anyone has, because we know this is some of the most expensive programs in the world. So I'm very grateful for the existence of Forté, because when I got admitted, I got the 50% scholarship from Forté immediately. And I think the biggest benefit from Forté it's been more than financial assistance. It's been the community of like women leaders from all over the world. So before we came, we had the Forté Takeoff program, and it was, I think, it was 6 weeks, maybe. It was a few weeks before the MBA, of interacting with MBAs from all over the world, some from Paris, Judge, Cambridge, Oxford, and we were all in the space where we were just learning together, trying to navigate the MBA. And I think that community of women I'm still in touch with from my takeoff class. And then we often meet them at Forté events. We had one at the beginning of the semester, I think in October. So I think the community of women who are striving, doing their best, killing it in their various fields is one of the things I'm most proud of. And yeah, and also it's helped because our class, we are 46% women in the cohort. And I know access to finance would have definitely been a barrier for me to come to business school. So I can imagine how access to finance would have been a barrier for so many other women. So yes, I'm very proud of the fact that I am a Forté fellow. I'm very proud of the fact that our class is pretty balanced on the women in business skills. And I'm looking forward to the day when the C-suites will be just as balanced. So looking for more women CEOs. And SHEOs, or whatever we usually call it. But yeah, looking forward to a world where more women are in C-suite positions.
Yeah, so even for me, so while I was applying to AMBS, I was looking for options to get a scholarship, get some funding from the B school, and it was so great that the recruitment team actually connected me with Forté organization, and I received this Forté scholarship. It really helped me with the financials, of course, like you said. It was one of the biggest barriers for me as well, coming from India. The expenses are so high that this support was really helpful, even though I had to write few essays and it was a lot of work, but I think if you're deserving enough, you will receive it. And I was so glad when I received this scholarship, financial plus the networking that you get, the network you are able to create. So when we went to London Business School, if you remember, there were so many people from different schools, and you can meet them, you can chat with them, sharing their struggles, achievements as well. It was so great to connect with people and the community of females. That's so great.
It's so true, because I remember when we were having the breakout rooms when we were at LBS, and it was so interesting that spaces for women who are in leadership are so important, because I remember some of the conversations we were having. I was like, oh, I'm not the only one. Like, I felt so seen. I felt so seen. And I was like, oh gosh, if she did it, so can I. And I know it sounds unbelievably cheesy, but I think you really need to see, it's so important to see people like you in spaces so that you can know that you belong, you take up more space. So I really agree with the network of is one of the best things about Forté.
Yeah. So perfect. And that's so rightly said. And coming to the next question about so I understand that you already have a venture back in East Africa, and you're also doing your full-time MBA. So the pressure can be super high, even for me, because I'm also running a venture. I handle the marketing, and it's been really tiring handling all of it with the coursework also. But could you tell us, like, how are you actually managing all your coursework and your entrepreneurship as well? How are you dealing with all of it? If you can shed some light on it, enlighten us.
I'll start by saying balance is a myth. It doesn't exist. If anyone tells you there's work-life, the line. So I think at the beginning I tried my best to dabble and do both, but I think you might burn at the ends of both candles. So I think one part of leadership is knowing when to trust your team and building a team that you can rely on. So I think I let and also it's also knowing when it's important to invest in yourself as a leader, because and I know you probably know, having a venture takes almost everything out of you and also exposes you in so many ways. So if you don't take the time to build your skill gaps, the things you don't have, there's no time that I'm pouring into this business that would be valuable as the time I'm taking away to build my own skills. So it's being reflective. And I think that's also something, big takeaway from the MBA is Manchester loves reflection. For some, there's always reflecting somewhere. You finish the social impact presentation, you reflect.
And it's such a good exercise.
It really is.
I have realized it's such a good exercise. In the start, it always felt like, oh, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But now, I feel so good that I'm doing this.
Yes.
And it really helps you get the perspective.
Yes. And I think that those are some of the difficult conversations I had with myself. So at the beginning of the program, and I just decided to invest like full time, just give the time to the MBA program, build my skills, say yes to the things, the opportunities in the business school. Because I think one thing you have to recognize about time is that it's finite. So the things you're saying yes to means you're saying no to a lot of other things. So I decided to say yes to the experience, and I know my venture will be better for it as well. Yeah. So what about you? How's it been going? How have you been managing?
It's been really tiring. I wouldn't lie. I mean, I've spent nights where I was working on my projects while also handling the marketing. It's been really tiring for me. But I think, right, like you said, that it's a myth, the balance. It's really a myth. You really can't, because you have to spend a lot of sleepless nights to
Mhm.
actually get things done. But
Mhm.
you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
So like you said that, you said yes to a lot of things, and you said yes to venture capital investment competition, right?
I did. Yes.
So this is the competition where MBA teams acts as investors. They
Mhm.
run diligence on real startups under time pressure. They also pitch an investment,
Yeah.
and during this whole process, I understand there were so many things that you were doing. A lot of things were happening, right? So, um, and your team region to the regionals, which is great. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Uh, so could you tell us about one decision during your due diligence
Mhm.
that improved your thesis, and one lesson you now use when you assess the impact ventures?
Mhm. That's a very good question. And first of all, I'll start by saying shout out to our fellow chefs. We call we call ourselves chefs because we were really cooking. But anyway, it's an inside joke. It's not that funny, but it
This
was.
was this is Alvaro's joke, if I'm
Yes,
not wrong.
yes. Shout out to Alvaro. But it was such an amazing experience for me personally. It was a chance to take this, like, step into the other seat, because usually I'm the one pitching for funding, and my company's the one being scrutinized, and it was a chance for me to wear the investor hat, and it gave me so much perspective. It's one of the, like, my highlights of the program so far. I know there's many more to come, but I really enjoyed it. I think one of the biggest things I have learned about the venture capital process is that valuation is an art, not a science. So there's a lot of judgment involved, how they evaluate a startup, a team, how they believe in potential, how you evaluate power. And I think it's cementing the point that business is very relational. So it's how much you like the team. Are they competent? Are they the best team to do this job? Do they care about the problem they're working on solving? And then now you go into the nitty gritty, sort of what you've mentioned. What am I looking at when due diligencing a company? And I know I'm in no way a VC yet. Who knows? Fingers crossed. But I think the hard financials are hard to ignore. So of course you have to look at, are they making money? What will the future revenue look like? But I think one of the biggest aspects is the non-financial matters as well. Are they the best team? Do they work well as a team? What are some of their strengths and competencies? So yeah, I think it's been interesting learning, and I'm very excited to be representing the university along with my team in Barcelona. And yeah, let's see where it goes from there. But it's a very exciting experience, and I think I will say one of the biggest now in reflection with the MBA is say yes, say yes to trying and taking the opportunity. It is an add-on to an already very packed MBA schedule, but it gives so much value. Shout out to Daniel Shuttleworthy. He's a VC himself, and he's taking time to help lead the preparation for us as we do the competition. So it's an opportunity to meet industry. So just say yes. And I know there are very many other teams as well who are doing the case competition one. So the business school offers you so many opportunities. It's up to you to see what aligns with your personal interests. And if you find something that does, say yes. Definitely do it, go for it, and you'll be surprised where it goes, I think.
That's so correct. I think for me it was the case competition when I participated in that, even though we did not make it to the finals, but it was a great experience. There's so much learning that you can have while you participate in these competitions, and you rightly said that we should say yes to the things that are there, at least in the business school, because you're essentially trying a lot of things. And and I think it's also important to understand that you also need to prioritize things for yourself, because there's so much going on. So I think prioritizing is one of the arts, I would say, that I've learned in the business school. So yeah, I think this next question is more about the reflection. So looking back, what would you advise to your month one self when you landed in Manchester, when you started your MBA? What you could have done differently back then? So if you can shed some light on that.
Yeah, I think this will also involve a lot of judgment, but yeah, because I was so excited with the opportunities in the business school, and I said yes to most of them. And at the time, I was also trying to do a bit of venture work. I think one thing, looking back, one thing I'll tell Gloria then is to prioritize self-care. So go to the gym, take a walk, talk to friends, go get a. Of course, I did these things, but I would be more intentional with prioritizing me time, because sometimes you work on a project till 2 a.m. and it will not always yield the results you wanted, but you taking time for yourself it is always a cash out. Like, you will definitely get more out than you put in. So I think take care of yourself. There's a lot of support also in the university, so if you need it, talk to people, and then talk to people on the course. There's very many interesting people, get to know them, learn from their experiences. But I will say yes, that is one thing I should have said yes to, taking care of myself and doing more outside of the class. I remember I have a mentor. As I mentioned, I'm a Peter Folkman scholar, so Peter is one of my mentors. And I remember at the end of the course, he was asking me, "So Gloria, what have you been doing outside of the MBA?" And it was crickets. I was like, "That's a great question.
What am I doing?
What am I doing?" So I think that's a question I'm reflecting as we start this next term. What am I doing outside the course? And anyway, I'm in Manchester. Let me go to a game, maybe. I don't know, but just
there's so much to explore in this city.
Yes.
And so when I came here, a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people from previous cohort, and everybody told me that you need to take out time for yourself, like you said. And I've been doing yoga for quite a few months. I was practicing yoga back in India, and now I'm doing it here. It has really helped me keep myself moving. The mental peace I receive after every SIP lecture that I had, or after every project work that I used to do, it really keeps you sane during this insane journey of MBA.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. So I think you should also include maybe include a yoga sometime in your regime.
Would you be open to hosting a yoga class?
Absolutely.
That sounds like a fun thing to do.
So now we are making plans here.
Okay, yeah. Let's do that.
Let's do this. Perfect, Gloria. Okay. Thanks for all your answers that you're given to us. Everything has been super inspiring, even for me, and probably for our listeners as well.
Thank you.
So finally, we're at the most fun segment of this podcast, where I will ask you 3 questions about Manchester, because it's been some time you've been in Manchester, so you should essentially know these questions. And you'll have to take a coffee shot if you're not able to answer these questions.
Oh no.
So for one question, the penalty is that you drink the coffee shot.
Okay.
So it's a big penalty if you don't drink coffee. And I don't think you do.
I don't drink coffee.
so it is a punishment for sure. For me, it wouldn't be a punishment. I would love it. So the first question goes, it's a true or false question.
Okay.
Manchester actually has a higher annual rainfall than most other UK cities. Is it true or false?
Well, the fact that people call it Rainchester has to mean something, so I'll say true.
Please, that's right. True. That's right. Great. Go on. Good one. Second, which female artist headlined the One Love Manchester concert in 2017?
Okay, female helps. I have no clue. Can I ask follow-up questions, or I have to?
I can give you one hint. Okay. I can sing one line from one of her songs.
Yes, please.
Please bear with me. I don't really have a good voice. So it goes like, "You like my hair?"
Okay,
just
fine. Ariana Grande.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. So the last question, because this city it's all about football, right?
Okay.
So you should know this one.
I definitely
If you don't, you're going to upset a lot of football fans. Just so you know. So there's a high stake here. Who is the current Manchester United captain?
I have absolutely no idea. I don't even know the players.
Gloria, you must.
Oh my God.
You must learn about football.
Who is someone in football that I know?
Don't say David Beckham. Don't say David Beckham. Gloria.
I actually have no clue. Genuinely. That is such a. You see, I mentioned I should start going to the games. I need to go. Someone, please, let's go to a game.
Yeah, you should.
I don't know.
You don't know? Take
No.
a coffee shot.
Oh no,
It's hot.
Oh, okay.
It's good coffee, right?
Yeah,
it's good.
It's coffee.
It's coffee. So the answer is Bruno Fernandes.
That sounds familiar.
Does it?
I've probably heard of it somewhere. I know nothing about. If it was F1, I probably would know something.
Oh.
I know nothing about football.
Nice.
Okay, which I think is questionable for someone who came to a football city.
To Manchester.
I know. I know.
But it's fine. Learn more about football.
I will try.
There's always learning opportunity out there.
Yes.
Yeah. So the last question. Here we'll end this podcast. So because this is International Women's Month, could you give us 3 takeaways for women in business leadership roles and also to the students?
Okay, 3 takeaways. One, I'll say lean in. This is Sheryl Sandberg's book on leadership. I think as a woman, you might feel like the space isn't built for you and you might want to leave. But Sheryl Sandberg's advice, which please don't take it at my face value, go read the book, is that when you feel like leaving, that's probably the time you need to lean in. I think we have it easier than a lot of women did back in the day. And it's within living memory that women didn't have the right to vote. Women couldn't own their own bank account. So we've come a long way. But yeah, so whenever you feel like a room is not built for you, lean in. And in spaces where the table is just not accommodating for you, build your own. Build your own ventures. Do the things you're passionate about. Chase your dreams. Seek support. So that would be my last one. Seek support from the people around you. We were not meant to do this alone, and you are not alone. So there's a community of women waiting for you, and it's not just women. You can find allies and sponsors and people who are championing for you. So when you find them, hold on to them, and you have everything you need to thrive. And happy International Women's Month. Yes, that's it.
Thanks a lot, Gloria.
Thank you for
here.
having me.
All of your insights were so great.
I really
so
enjoyed
helpful. And I'm sure listeners, when they actually listen to this podcast, they'll be so inspired by you.
I hope
with
so.
everything that you have done, coming to AMBS, defining your whole life again. It's been a great journey, and it was so lovely talking to you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.